live on Facebook right now. Maybe. Okay, I think we are live on Facebook. So hello, everybody watching on Facebook. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. So just kind of sit tight for right now, but just as a reminder, this is happening on Zoom. So if you want to join us and you want to have a conversation with us, please click the Zoom link in the post on Facebook, and that'll sign you in. It will be very difficult for us to monitor comments on Facebook and on Zoom. So please try to, if you want to join us, please do so through Zoom for right now. All right, looks like Derek is in, so I'm gonna mute me and turn over control to he and Mary so they can introduce themselves. And then whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and click record.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And make sure we're recording here.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to talk a little bit about intro to communications, give some tips and tricks on ways that we can be better communicators. My name is Mary and I'm a staff member. I live in Cape Girardeau. But I serve statewide, helping with fundraising with the Knights of Columbus partnership with Special Olympics. I love working with the Athlete Leadership Program, and I think today you're going to get a small taste of what that is like. And I'm excited to be teaching with my friend Derek, who will introduce himself here in a second. We've both been a part of the Athlete Leadership Program's management team for the last several years. And we teach Global Messenger 2 together at Alps University. So again, we're just excited to share a little bit of our knowledge with you, but also to learn from you. So I'll let Derek introduce himself now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Sandbothe. I am an athlete with the Special Olympics of Missouri, as well as the first ever hired athlete to ever work for Special Olympics Missouri. I've been working with them since August of 2018. I have been a part of the Athlete Leadership Program since 2015, and I help teach the Global Messenger 2 course. I really enjoy teaching a way to teach people how to give speeches and how, what it's like to be a Global Messenger, just on backgrounds and stuff, from my background and from where I came from, and how I can share my story about how Special Olympics means to me and what it has done for me in my life. So I am very, very thrilled to be able to share that kind of information with you, along with some of our stories that we have to go along with as well.
Awesome, thanks, Derek. Again, thanks for joining us. If you're watching Facebook Live and Zoom classroom, we'd really love to see your face, and you can wave to us, ask some questions. If not, leave some in the comments on Facebook, and we'll make sure we get back to those later on. Or if you're watching at a later date, please follow along, and we'll ask you to jot down some notes at different times, or feel free to contact Derek or I. We're going to put our contact information at the end of this lesson. Don't let communication scare you. You heard that Derek and I both teach Global Messenger 2. It doesn't mean you have to be a Global Messenger or have to ever give a speech. We all communicate every single day, many times a day. So these lessons are great for all of us. And we're going to learn about some different types of communication, what it takes to be a good communicator, and then even just sharing our story, which we do every day, but we can learn how to be really effective in that. Hi, Brenda. Thank you for joining us.
How you doing, Mr. Niemeyer?
All right. So what is communications? We're kind of going to get back to the basics. And Derek, why don't you read this definition for us?
Okay. What is communication? Well, communication is the act of giving, receiving, and sharing of information.
Yes, and it sounds so simple, but really that is what communication is. And we just said we do it every day, all day long. So again, communication doesn't just mean you're public speaking, giving a big speech in front of a large audience. It really is the act of giving, receiving, and sharing information. And we're going to learn about how that's not always just talking to each other either. So what are the three things that make communication, Derek?
What makes it What is communication? What is communication observed containing with? Well, it's a sender, then the message, and there's also a receiver at the end.
Mm-hmm. Every single type of communication that we give out contains a sender, a message, and a receiver. Again, not always is it just two people talking to each other. Maybe it is an audience that you're speaking to. Maybe it's your team. Maybe it's one-on-one with your coach, but there's always a sender, a message, and a receiver. And that includes verbal and nonverbal. So verbal would be what we're doing right now. We're communicating verbally, sending a message, but we do nonverbal communication all day long as well. That could include written communication, maybe emailing, sending a text message, using social media, but also our nonverbal cues. Dirk, do you want to explain what those are?
Nonverbal cues are like information, like writing things down, and so taking notes or something as a way of communicating. While I was teaching Global Messenger 2-1 class, we had I had a student who wasn't very talkative. I mean, she does communicate and so, sort of with her voice, but she speaks louder with her showing of props and stuff, and that's how she communicates with others when she gives speeches about her sports and what Special Olympics is like in her life. So it was really different for me, and so it's kind of cool that I get to learn from my own students as well. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And it shows that we don't always have to be talking to be sending a message. You're right. That's an athlete from the St. Louis metro area. Her name's Krista Roth, and she does an outstanding job of showing her different sports, showing a basketball, volleyball, her cheerleading pom-poms, and telling her story by using props and photos. And it's a great way to use nonverbal communications. It can also be our hand gestures. I know sometimes I use them too much, but those send nonverbal cues. Our eye contact, all of those different things are ways that we are communicating nonverbally. So again, it's all day long, every day. We are sending messages. There are receivers, and that's what communication is all about. So we just want to be aware of those things so we can be better at sending and receiving those messages. So what makes a good communicator? We would love to hear from some of you all. If you're on Facebook Live, please leave some comments on what you think makes a good communicator. Brenda, do you have anything you want to add on what makes a good communicator? Oh, sorry, we caught you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. A good communicator is someone who's open and honest, and they share the things that they're thinking or doing, so that it's just open communication and people can get information from that.
Absolutely. That was perfect. By not being afraid to use your voice. Absolutely. Very good. Well, Derek and I came up with a list that we think is important for making good leaders. There are a million other qualities that could fall under this. And again, we want to hear from you. If you tune in later, please jot them down and reach out to us, communicate with us. We'd love to hear your opinions. But Derek and I made this list, and we're just kind of going to go through them now and talk about them together.
Hey, Mary, can I interrupt you really quick?
Sure.
Sorry. Brenda, Kim, and I believe April. It looks like we double booked this for the North Area Coaches Conference. are the Coaches Input Council. So what Jess is going to do is we have 2 accounts, and she will be sending out the updated link for you guys to get on that one. So we apologize for the inconvenience. I hope that you learned something from Derek and Mary in the short time that you joined us.
Sorry, Brenda, but we appreciate your input. Thanks for joining us. You've been through Global Messenger 1 and 2 as a mentor, so you are an expert. So thanks for being with us.
You're more than welcome to stick around. This one might be, don't tell Jess I said this, but this one might be more fun. But feel free to go back and watch it with your athletes after the fact. But she'll be sending out an updated link for you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you, Brenda.
Bye.
So we're going to continue with what makes a good communicator. Again, there are tons more than these, but Derek and I both thought this was a good list to get started. The first one that we came up with together was being positive. It's really, really important to have a good attitude when you're speaking. People will want to listen more, but you'll also feel more confident in yourself if you approach it with a positive attitude. Smiling helps relax you and just kind of gets you ready to be in good communication with someone.
Right. And being a good listener, being attentive is a good communication. Just being able to, just listening and stuff, instead of like someone's already talking, if you're listening and stuff, that shows the person who's giving a presentation that you're actually wanting to learn and understand what they're talking about in their speeches. And so that's a great quality as well.
Absolutely. It's just as important to be a good receiver as you are being a good sender. And that cycle just kind of keeps going, and it's so very important. That also goes along with knowing your audience. You can only really know your audience if you're listening to them and knowing what they want to hear about. It's really, really important to tailor your message. That just means change your message to whatever audience you're talking to. For example, if you were talking to your team, you might be giving a different communication message than you would be if you were going somewhere in fundraising for something. So always knowing your audience is really, really important to being a good communicator.
Exactly. And also knowing your audience, or giving good eye contact is a big thing. Being able to show that your eyes are on the person who's speaking and stuff, letting them know that you're actually listening and trying to understand what they're saying. Instead of without getting distracted by other things, you're being more attentive to what's going on and stuff, and it shows through your eyes. And it's like, whether you're looking around or if you're looking at the person who's talking to you and stuff, that's another good sign of communication.
Definitely. And volume. Volume is really, really important when you're speaking to people, whether it's just in a conversation or giving a speech, anything that you're doing, it's really important that the receiver can hear your message. If they can't hear you, they don't really know what you're saying. So it's important that you're not talking so soft that no one can hear you, or so loud that you're blaring everyone out. It's just really important to find a healthy volume that the audience, that it makes them comfortable while they're listening as well.
Right. And being professional about it, taking the time to put together a presentation, using PowerPoints like we're using today, and also your appearance as well. And so, being able to show how professional you are, and stuff, because a lot of people think that if they just show up on their street clothes, that it's not really showing very good professionalism in your field. Being like, for taking for example, me and Mary, we're dressing in our teaching clothes for today's lesson, just so that you can be able to see and stuff and know what professionalism is and stuff, how professionalism comes out from communication.
Yeah, because we talked about it shows respect for your audience when you act and dress professionally and are prepared. You're not wasting someone else's time, and you show them that you respect them. You're treating their time like it is very important. And we called each other and talked about how we could dress professionally, to show you that we really respect you and that we take this seriously. And we were very proud of that. The last one that we came up with, again, there's a lot more. And Ashley, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're so glad you joined us. We want to know from you, what do you think makes a good communicator?
I think, like you said, knowing what you're talking about and showing that you know what you're talking about too.
Mhm.
Not just reading out of a book. Like if
Yeah,
you had actually been in a situation, you're showing that you actually know what you're talking about.
absolutely. And it makes you more confident when you know what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that I love that you said that. It goes right into our last line, which is being knowledgeable about what you are communicating. That makes us credible. And that means that people can trust that we know what we're talking about because we've done our research and we know.
Cutting out there, Mary.
That's what I was going to say. She cut it out.
Mary just cut out.
We might have lost her. Derek, go ahead and just pick up where she left off, and she'll join back in if she drops for whatever reason. Okay.
Okay. So moving on to our next slide. Let's see. See let's see here. Let's see, how do I go to the next slide here? It's not letting me do anything.
Derek, remember you can't go over, you have no control over the slides. Mary did. So you just talk from your notes about what's on the next slide without having to see it. Okay.
Okay. Our next one is talking about the mission of Special Olympics and what it does. And what's the mission of Special Olympics is the showing of, it's a year-round training. It supports year-round training for adults and youth with intellectual disabilities, and it creates joy, courage, teaches us, gives us the leadership skills. Here we go. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. The mission of Special Olympics is to provide year-round training, sports, and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic type sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, giving them I gotta move this over so I can
Continuing. Sorry, it's kind of blocked right now. Continuing opportunities.
Giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrating courage, experience joy, and participate in the sharing of skills and friendship with their families, other Special Olympics athletes, and their communities.
Thank you, Derek. And the reason why we put this in here, it really went off that last slide about being knowledgeable about what you're talking about. So we decided what's the one thing that we all have in common, our love for Special Olympics. So we thought this would be a great place for us to start, to really get knowledgeable about something that we already know so much about, but really diving back into the mission of Special Olympics. Who are we? What are we all about? And finding out what parts of that mission are so important to us that might help us tell our story later. So thank you, Derek, for reading that. I'm sorry that my internet wasn't cooperating just then. But we're going to, on the mission statement, Derek and I thought we would choose our favorite parts of this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
we thought we would choose our favorite part of the mission statement, and then Ashley and anyone joining via Facebook Live, we would love to hear from you and know what your favorite part of the mission statement is, and we can talk about those. So Derek, why don't you choose yours?
Sure. Mine happens to be the year-round sports training, because we are the only known sporting organization, that hosts Olympic sports all year round. Other than just one time a year, we have it all year round. We have around the state of Missouri, we have about 290 some events every single year throughout the state of Missouri. So that's pretty incredible when you're talking about sports and different things on that aspect. It's really incredible.
Absolutely. And not only does it give you something to look forward to each season, knowing that training is coming up for another sport and competitions, but also just staying healthy, staying fit, staying in contact with your teammates. It's just exciting that those opportunities are available all year round. So the one that I chose was demonstrate courage. I love this because I think it's at the heart of what Special Olympics is. You Special Olympic athletes do this every single day and inspire me all day long, every day, by how you do this. Not only in competing, training, working so hard for the sports that you do, but just in your everyday lives, going to work, being a part of your families and your communities, being representatives of Special Olympics. You demonstrate courage every single day, and it really is so inspiring. I love watching your bravery, and it's really contagious. I'm just really proud to get to be a part of it. Especially seeing like Ashley, you here today, and athletes that are taking part in athlete leadership, talk about demonstrating courage. It's just really cool. What is your favorite part? We'll put back up the whole mission statement here. And we want to know from you and those watching on Facebook Live or those watching at a later date, please jot down what your favorite part of the mission statement is, why it's important to you. But Ashley, do you have a favorite part?
Well, I got two favorite parts.
Yeah.
One is the healthy athletes aspect of it. I don't know of any other sports organization that cares about the health of their athletes as well as doing the sports themselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally agree. And I think that would probably fall under a lot of things, like giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness. Staying healthy is so, so important. And you're right, it's so neat that Special Olympics takes that so seriously, and it's become a of who we are, because we want you to live healthier lives so you can be better at your sports, be better at your jobs, and live longer, healthier lives. Was there another part of the mission statement that's important to you?
Well, and I was going to say sharing of gifts. I did not, before I really started getting to athlete leadership, I did not know that I was such good at reaching out to people. Since I started athlete leadership, I've learned so much more of how to communicate with people in a professional manner and in other ways. And I've been working so much on public speaking, I did not realize I could do so much.
Well, we're proud of you, and you do such a great job with it, and we're so grateful, especially while we're doing all our hashtag SOMO at home, healthy tips and exercises, and you've been such a big part of that. And we're just really proud of you, and we're glad that Special Olympics has given you those opportunities, and that you're sharing your skills and your gifts and talents with all of us, because it really helps us all.
Well, thanks.
So everyone else at home, we want to hear from you. Even if it's at a later date, please jot down what part of this mission statement means a lot to you. We hope that one or several of these are important to you, because they are who we are at Special Olympics. And we know that that's, again, the one thing that we for sure all have in common is that we do love Special Olympics. And again, this is just a way to show how we can become more knowledgeable about something. you might have competed in Special Olympics for a long time and never really known what the full mission statement is. And yes, it's a big, long sentence, but it really covers everything that we're passionate about Special Olympics in our mission.
I think Lena's watching via Facebook, and she said her favorite part is sharing gifts, skills, and friendships as well.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Lena. Go ahead and add a comment on why that's important to you, if you don't mind. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that tells into sharing your stories. So, what is your favorite Special Olympics moment, and how has Special Olympics changed your life? Well, for me, my favorite Special Olympics memory would have to be making the first ever USA National Games in Ames, Iowa back in 2006. That was really, really incredible. I mean, I never thought that Special Olympics would take me anywhere, but let me tell you, it definitely did. I got to experience so much that I don't think I'd ever have a chance to experience something like that again. But it's actually incredible. And how has Special Olympics changed my life? Well, before Special Olympics, my life wasn't as good as you see it now. I was always down on myself. I was always picked last. I was always picked on and bullied and stuff, But after I graduated high school, let me tell you, the Special Olympics brought me out of that slump and into an absolute high and stuff. I mean, it has just been absolutely incredible for me.
So cool. Thank you for sharing that, Derek. And you've become such a great communicator that you can even just think about, get asked a question on the spot and put that into such great words. So we so appreciate that. And I just wanted to share, I think my favorite Special Olympic memory would have to be the very first time I volunteered for Special Olympics. I was in high school, and I was able to help with awarding medals. And I just remember feeling so honored to get to do that. But one of the best moments of that day, and I was definitely hooked from then on, as you can tell. But I remember awarding the bronze medal, and then I went to award the silver medal. And the athlete that received that, this was an individual skills, and the athlete that received silver, she threw her hands up in the air and she said, "This is the happiest day of my entire life." And she had so much joy, and she meant it with all her heart. And then the person that got first place put the gold around her neck. And back to the silver, the second place winner, she was even more excited for the person that got first. She was hugging her, telling her how proud she was of her. And she was so genuinely excited for the person that got gold. And I think that's the moment that Special Olympics changed my life, because I just learned how you all work so hard, but you're so proud of each other. And it's such a great lesson for everyone. And I don't know, just seeing that pure joy, it really changed my life. And I'm just so grateful that I get to be a part of it. So those are just quick, easy ways where Derek and I, we quickly shared our story. It's because we know a lot about Special Olympics. We went back to that mission statement, reviewed some things, but also tapped into our story and learned ways we could communicate that. And I feel like you all probably have very similar experiences where you have a great favorite memory of Special Olympics. And Ashley, we want to hear from you. And Lena, if you want to add on Facebook Live in the comments, and anyone, if you want to jot down your story at home, if you're watching at a later time, this is really helpful to really think about your favorite moments. I think sometimes it's easy to think, oh, I know what that is. But if you really sit down and think about it, maybe it's a different memory than you've thought about in a while. It's really important to develop those stories, so when you are going out and talking to other people, you can communicate those messages effectively. So Ashley, but we want to hear from you. What is your favorite Special Olympics memory?
Okay. I don't know what I did, you guys.
That's okay. We kind of put you on the spot.
There we go. I figured it out. I would have to say my favorite memory is I quit for a couple of years because my mother passed away. But when I came back, it's like nothing changed. Everybody is still there for me. It's still the same organization that I joined when I was in middle school, and even though we've all probably changed and gotten older, I mean, we all still had the same compassion for each other and for the sports we do.
I love
And,
that.
and I'll never forget. It was part of my homework for doing athlete leadership, but I was volunteering at a bowling tournament, and a lot of my teammates were doing bowling, but I wasn't personally. And they were so excited that I was giving the medals out.
So cool. What a great memory.
And my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, my best friend's gonna give me my medal," and I'm like, "Yes, I will."
That is pretty
So,
cool. What a great opportunity. Again, going back to sharing your gifts and talents with everyone else. So that is so cool. So cool.
Let me give
And
a quick update on Facebook. It looks like Alan Tobin is also watching via Facebook. He says, going back to the mission statement, sharing of gifts, skills, and friendships, because Special Olympics has done so much for me. I can never give back everything they've done for me, but he also said he enjoys spending time with his friends. And then Lena answered your question on why it's important. She said, it's important to me because everyone has their own gifts. I really enjoy having the friendships through Special Olympics. I also enjoy helping other athletes as well. In a way, I like to have an athlete look up to me.
Oh,
Yes, Lena, she says, I don't know if that makes sense. Yes, Lena, that makes sense.
it makes total sense.
And then Lena said her favorite memory. She says, I have a lot of memories, but my favorite would be winning gold in the 100-meter run at national games in Seattle and speaking in front of people, big crowds, because she's usually shy.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing. I can't wait to go back and we'll continue this conversation on Facebook. But thank you so much for sharing. You guys are amazing. And it just shows that when you really sit down and think about your story, you have so many cool things to share. And sometimes it just takes time to really sit down and think about those, to write about them. And it can be therapeutic. It can help us when we sit and write about those good times, especially when we're, stuck at home right now. It's important to think about all the good things and write those thoughts down, because you never know who you'll want to communicate that with. And it's great to put those thoughts down and be able to communicate them well later. Very, very cool. Those were awesome. We can't thank you enough. Again, keep sharing your story. Keep writing it down, thinking about it. It's only going to get better every time you share it. So we're just so proud of all of you.
All right. Now that's when your story and the mission. How does your story connect with the mission of Special Olympics? And a lot of you guys have shared that about how Special Olympics has tied your stories with what Special Olympics is and what it's for and what it does. So congratulations. I mean, great job, you guys. You guys are spreading some great messages out there. You guys are great speakers, senders, communicators. This is incredible. So just keep doing that and stuff. And, we're so proud of you, each and every one of you.
Yeah, you have such great messages to share. You've already showed that. So please keep sharing them. Yes, Derek, you said it very well. And keep thinking about how your story connects with the mission of Special Olympics. It's what really ties you to who we are at SOMO. And maybe today your favorite part is, sharing gifts and skills and talents. And maybe tomorrow it's experiencing joy. It can change all the time, and your story should change all the time, because you're always going to have new experiences. So keep coming back to your notes, going over them, adding to your story. Again, it will only make it better for the future.
Really quickly before you guys move on, I have another comment from Facebook. I have a Jasmine Sharif or Sheriff. I apologize if I mispronounced your last name, Jasmine. But she said her favorite Special Olympics memory is when she got a gold in at the World Games in China.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that is awesome, Jasmine. Congratulations. Please share in the comments. We want to hear from you. Tell us what that experience was like and how it changed your life. We want to hear more about it.
Definitely. And, we just want to thank you for joining us on this little session on communication. We would like for you to follow Special Olympics Missouri to experience more like this one at SOMO at Special Olympics Missouri and hashtag SOMO at home.
Mm-hmm.
You can also join us on the web and stuff at somo.org/coronavirus update. You can also learn more about Athlete Leadership Program University, which I am been a great big part of. I've got a communications major myself. And also my job is to get new athlete leaders into our program. So if you know of anyone that would love to join Special Olympics, they may not want to do any sports, but they can still do learning life skills by going to one of our athlete leadership program universities. We have them twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. Our next one is coming up October 9th to the 11th in Warrensburg. So we would love to see you guys there. Please look us up. It's at somo.org/A,
Yes, and you probably hear people saying ALPS a lot, and that does stand for Athlete Leadership Programs. And again, today was just a little bitty sneak peek of some things that happen at ALPS universities. And we really, really hope that you, if you haven't already experienced an ALPS university, that you'll come join us. It is really unlike anything else. It's a great opportunity to come learn new skills. We talked about communications today, and yes, that's important for any part of life, but we have a lot of other majors to choose from. And please check out the website that Derek talked about. All of those majors are listed there. We have tons of different courses you can take. We have awesome teachers like Derek, and we would just really love for you to be a part of that experience. We promise you won't regret it, and you will learn a lot. Liked what you learned today and you want to learn more about communications, please reach out to Derek or myself. We put our email addresses up on the screen, or reach out through this Facebook thread. We would love to hear from you and just learn what you want to hear about. Maybe it's overcoming the fear of public speaking or how to write a speech, or again, just going back to these basics of communication. We're here to bring you more information. So let us know what you're interested in hearing about. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Ashley and Alan and Lena and Jasmine, and if anyone else joined us on Facebook or if you're watching later on, thank you so much for taking the time to learn how to be a better communicator. Again, it's for all of us, not just those that want to give big speeches. We communicate every single day. So be aware of those messages we're receiving, or we're sending and receiving, and think about the ways that you can be a better communicator and a better representative of Special Olympics. We hope that some things from today's lesson are useful. And again, reach out to us and let us know what you want to learn about in the future. Derek, do you have anything else?
Well, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in. And hopefully next week we can maybe go in a little bit more depth. If you guys would like to learn about how to write a speech, or the different components, so please reach out to myself or Mary Niswonger, and we'll be glad to implement that into our next session. So thank you all so very much for being here.
Really quickly before we sign off, Jasmine is wanting to know if she can have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. So Jasmine, my suggestion would just go ahead and be to email Mary. Her email is on the screen right now. It's just niswonger@somo.org. If you can email her, then she would be happy to get you a copy of that presentation. Or if for some reason email doesn't work, let us know in the Facebook chat and I'll be sure to find a different way that you get a copy of the presentation.
Absolutely. Yeah, that goes for anyone. Anyone that's interested, please reach out to us and we're happy to get you a copy. Thank you all so much. We hope you learned something helpful and we hope you're enjoying SOMO at home. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.